4:30 p.m. Monday, February 9th, 2026, 4:30 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Item one, yes, anybody on Zoom? Who's the picture of that?
That's Lisa Beck, candidate Beck. Joining the meeting virtually. Other than that, it's staff.
Well, everybody here, or if you'd like to say anything?
Lisa, did you have any comments under public comment, or are you just listening in tonight? I'm gonna go with just listening.
Just listening in, I'm good.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Sagami,
Here.
Jordan,
Here.
Hubbard,
Here.
Mumper,
Here.
Schuster.
Here. Item comment. Item 5. The approval of 1/12/26 public work and utility committee minutes.
Move for approval. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Item 6, acknowledge January 2026 water and sewer permit. None. Okay. Staff report, item 7, CIP update.
Sure, my voice isn't the greatest today, so I just try to, unless anybody has any major questions, there's not a whole lot going on. Trying to get some real estate taken care of on some of the Ross Ave projects and the Alderson Jelnik transportation plats get recorded, signed this past month. And Ike's getting through the design on Bladel and Concord. We did have that notice that we had received some funding for the clean water loan for the Business 51 project. However, we did not score high enough for any principal forgiveness. We did have this scheduled as a 2027 year project. So right now we're probably planning to just resubmit next year and see if there's any minor tweaks we can do to try to get our scoring up a little higher, or maybe next year's projects, everybody else will have less requests and we'd be able to get some principal forgiveness for that project. Otherwise, some of the utility projects or subdivisions, the Granite Ridge subdivision has started kind of over December, January. There was some blasting for the utility trenches that occurred. They'll be working on getting the sewer and water main installed this winter yet.
So how much rock do you have?
It depended where they were. As they went uphill, it was less, but as they got closer to the existing houses, roadway, it's also where they were the deepest with the sewer too, so.
It was on the boards.
No, they knew it was happening. It was planned, yeah. So I think at the connection, they're about 17 feet deep. And it was about at 10 feet hit rock, so. Then we did receive our construction authorization from the Public Service Commission for the well 3 work. So we're ready to proceed on that, and contractor A-Pine indicated starting in March for that excavation work there, so.
You gotta move that chair. No, no.
You're not muted.
I just muted her.
Bad dog.
So
Okay. Done, Michael?
I'm done unless anybody has any.
You using your voice not to tell us everything?
I don't know. I've been battling a little bit of a cold, and then I don't know, maybe I'll say coaching basketball all weekend. I think I shouted and used up whatever was left there.
And we haven't got that 80% land back from DOT.
Not for Business 51. We do have a meeting scheduled at the DOT. I think it's March 19th. So I don't know. I kind of hold my breath for those meetings because it seems like every time we have a meeting with the DOT, they say, hey, we're moving the project back another year. So we'll see what I guess comes from that.
Is there any question for Michael?
I'm not trying to make you talk too much. That retention pond, I mean, that was,
Don't worry about that.
that's it.
Make him talk.
Yeah, I'll talk. It's fine. By the end of the meeting, if I can't talk, it's okay.
In regards to that retention, I mean, I don't know what the scoring thing is or how it works. I assume you have a lot more knowledge of that. I mean, were we really close and?
A lot of it goes based on who else submits. You know, there's so much money that they set aside. So if you get 80 projects one year and 60 projects another year, talking to Strand when they came out, it sounded like if we would have applied in 2025, we likely would have been right at the cusp of getting the principal forgiveness. But in the 26 fiscal year, we were just beyond, I want to say it. Say projects 1 through 40 got funded and we would have applied in 24, our score would have put us at say 35. But with the projects that came in this past in fiscal year 26, we were, instead of being in the top 40, we were at like 50. But our score our score is the same. So it just matters the relative score of the projects you're going up against as well.
And then just as a follow-up, is there any reason that there's any upcoming fiscal year we have to have that retention pond in place by? Or can we just defer until it gets the principal forgiveness?
I forget which year. We do need to show the DNR that we're making progress towards our phosphorus compliance. If we just keep kicking the project down, eventually they're going to say, hey, this doesn't count. You need to actually do something.
Because that was a significant amount, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, our share is about $2 million.
so it was like, I guess I'd like to, if we can defer it until we get the money from them.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thought right now is we'll just defer the current funding and try again next year. And maybe there's some design tweaks or something we can do that would bump us up a couple points.
Thank you.
Yep.
We hired that consultant to do a study on that asbestos project. $3,000 some.
The
Do you want me to
yeah,
talk?
go for it.
So we worked with them to develop a mailing list. We did 2 mailings in the end of November and December. After we did the 2 mailings, anyone who hadn't complete the survey, Michael and I went door to door. We knocked every door that didn't complete the survey. We left them a 3rd copy. I don't think that contributed to his illness, but I don't think it helped either. And then after that, now we're making phone calls. We only have until Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and then MSA will tell us whether or not we've met the required number of surveys in order to apply. If we haven't, the surveys we have collected are good for 5 years. And maybe we'll go back out and try and follow up with those that we didn't get, maybe at like the fall, and see if we could gather enough to submit a project.
He's working on.
Correct, yeah.
And then also, we're looking for connection, construction inspection.
Yeah.
And you said you may not have it for this year.
Yeah, we'll be looking to put that ad out live. I'd say probably yet this month, and hopefully if we get some good applicants, we can have somebody hired. Yes, trying to make sure we don't put ourselves between a rock and a hard place. So if say we're not getting anybody by March, we probably should look at sending out an RFP for construction services. We can have somebody hired by late April, early May. Help us with that.
I would say even if you don't get it, I'll stay ready to get somebody on board
Yeah.
Because he's gonna need some training.
Correct, yeah.
You can't just throw him at the wolves, say, here it is.
Yeah, It depends on the person we would get, you know, if you got somebody who has, 10 years of experience doing that work. You have a comfort level that they know what they're doing, but if you're getting a brand new kid out of school, then it's gonna be a little more of a learning curve, so.
I wouldn't go that far, but.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we're gonna do the project of the love child, the water, we're gonna do the water.
The Volkman Street one?
Right.
Yep.
You have a schedule for Kelnick and Alderson. So when you finish that project, you can hire somebody else to do the other one.
Yeah, so Jelnick Alderson should be this year, and Rothschild has pushed back that Volkman work till 27, so we should be okay there. Yeah, so they are pushing that back to 27.
The reason for that?
Fits into their plan better, I don't know. I had a very strong preference that that be in 26, so.
Anybody else have a question on that? Okay. Street operation update?
Yes, we had cold weather, kind of set us back a little bit, but we were able to go and remove snow in most cul-de-sacs. Areas where snow protrudes out into the roadway, we did the removal. As the crews were going through these areas, mainly curb and gutter, they're removing snow by storm drains, have access to that when it starts thawing. The guys were out plowing 10 times, about 10 plowable snow events. And these occurred during low temperatures, which also makes it hard for snow removal. That's when we just use our fan salt mixture to help with the traction issues. And we also received our 1,000-ton salt delivery. During this time frame, we had some culverts in the village back up. Some pumps were running in heavily soiled areas. So we had to send crews out to go steam culverts. Because some pumps are running, it runs to the ditch, but then as soon as it gets to the culvert, it freezes up. Then we also had staff in the shop cleaning equipment, and cleaning the shop, polishing wheels, greasing equipment, and waxing the vehicles done when the temperatures are so low. The DPW also helps out with lighter repairs on their piece of equipment. Help the mechanics out so they're not having to do all the little stuff like changing wipers and rotating tires, stuff like that. We are also still working on a retention pond brushing around the village. This is a single person operation, so it's try not to use too much equipment when the weather's that cold, because it is hard on them, but just kind of keep the machine running it's used year round, plus it's a good cross training practice. That somebody gets to get in that piece of equipment and run it, get the feel for it, because we use it all year round. So we get to rotate personnel in and out of it. So teach them how to run their equipment. For the shop, we received the trench box. They're building a steel pallet for it in-house here. So it can be loaded onto a trailer faster. Continuing the repairs on Unit 81, which is street sweeper. Yep.
Where are you gonna store that? I didn't quite get it.
Oh, the mechanics are fabricating a steel type pallet
Yeah.
so that it can get strapped to the pallet, so we can pick it up with the forklift to put it on the truck or trailer faster, so we can deploy faster.
I'm sorry, do those have large spreaders, or is that all included? You just open it up and then it locks
It's
it?
got multiple spreaders, yeah, that adjust.
Oh.
It's an adjustable one.
Okay, yeah.
I forget the exact lengths, but it gets down, I do believe, around to 32 inches wide and expands from there.
Oh, okay.
That was the whole purpose of getting the trench box, because we didn't have one to get small enough to get into smaller areas. Repairing unit 81, the wear parts, that's our street sweeper, still doing a lot of upgrades to that. The bucket repairs, we had a couple buckets going, kind of breaking. So instead of trying to replace the bucket, which no longer is in the size available for that machine, the mechanics are replacing it and rebuilding it. Unit 17 airbag, front airbag is replaced, repaired an antifreeze leak, which is a plow truck. And then one picture showing the shop was completely full with snowblower parks. Mowers were in there, the grader was in there, the back truck was in there, so it stays pretty busy this time of year. Unit number 70, which is another plow truck, had a full radiator replacement. And then bringing in the unit 962 leaf vac, which had a radiator leak this year as well. So they're repairing that, getting that ready for the springtime. Additional work was 21 got serviced, 301, which is a butt axle, got serviced, 60, which is another plow truck. Replaced the headlights, the roof beacons, the hydraulic leaks, and repaired the brine issues. Unit 29, another plow truck had a power steering leak. The snow blower, the sidewalk machine fabricated cutting edges and replaced the wheels on the blower. Unit number 10, which is a plow truck as well, had a hydraulic leak and wiring for the headlights. And unit 231, 1-ton truck, had a contaminated fuel issue that got repaired. The youth apprentice did the fabrication of the curb guards that go on our wing blades, replaced the cutting edge, removed radiator from the leaf vac for repairs. Park mowers he serviced and serviced smaller compactors, and he serviced unit 21. And that's all I got.
Quick question, how often do you have to change blades on a plow?
About every third year.
Oh, they last?
Yeah,
that long?
they're carbide, they got carbide infused in them, so they last a while.
That's not big.
The only thing we gotta change is the actual curb finder we put on the wing, because that rubs up against the wing.
Oh, yeah.
We hard face it and all, and the mechanics hard face them, but eventually it does wear down, so that's the only thing we're replacing.
Okay.
Yeah, several years ago, we kind of switched what type of blade we use. So instead of switching about every season or multiple times a season, the carbide's a little more expensive, but they last, like 3 years
Yeah,
versus.
I thought you'd probably twice a season.
no, yeah, these new blades are designed way better than what we used to have, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So the snow you're picking up at the side of roads, where are you taking it?
We have dump sites like down at Ryan Street by our site. We take it there. We also have a site we use like the parking lot at Mock Miller Park. We dump there. And then up by the natural gas station up off of Weston Avenue, on our site there, we dump there as well.
Okay. Any question?
What's our salt situation? 2 years ago, we had that big surplus, we didn't use it.
We are back to about 1,300 ton right now after we got our 1,000 in. So we're sitting good right now, so.
You bought some more salt, didn't you?
Yes, 1,000 ton came in, yes.
It's the same price?
The price was,
Yeah, so we order every year for salt, and then you get your delivery window generally from August to July is your delivery window for that order. So then probably in April, May, we'll have to place our order for next year. So this 1,000 tons was from our order last year.
Okay, I thought this order all through DOT.
We do, yes, correct.
Okay. Other question?
Do you know the source of the contaminated fuel?
that I don't know that. I don't know where that came from.
Haven't experienced much of that?
No, because it's one of our brand new trucks too, so I don't know if like some water got in. I know they went and changed the filters out and all that, so.
I'm one of the guys that didn't vote for a fuel station here. So that we'd buy fuel from local guys, but if we're gonna have contamination problems, that's I wouldn't feel
It's
good
more
about that.
inside the
Yeah.
truck, would you?
Yes.
That would, my guess is usually you got a leak in a valve or a hose.
Yeah, he didn't give me a,
Yeah,
old
I
definition.
would guess it's not the actual fuel that's the problem. It's somewhere in the truck, there's a leak and it got into the fuel, but you never know for sure, but.
Correct.
Okay. Item 9. Utility operation update.
Sure, the weather, last month allowed our guys to get into some of our facilities and give them some TLC as well as, kind of get on top of some of our reporting, for some of our inventory on the water side. Had to do a number of, chemical feed line replacements. We did change out the bag filters. That's part of our PFAS system that comes from, well number 4. Replaced four-way valve and some chlorine tubing and well number 6. Additional chlorine lines at the treatment plant, cleaned up our well 7, 8 well house. The guys are spending some time working on our meter card inventory. Every card, we have a historical backlog of actual physical meter cards that we're trying to transfer into a more up to, I guess maybe a couple centuries ago program. So we have an old program we're using that we're trying to transfer into something a little more modern. So the guys were helping with that. There was a main break along Alderson that we had to go help and patch back together.
Where was it?
It was just up Alderson from Jelnik. There was,
Like Mount
By
Olive.
Mount Olive. It
Yeah.
seems like, is that a bad spot? Because it seems like several
so,
times over the years, I've seen.
I mean, they were doing some work for us. We did locate it, but there's a number of things running through there that, you know, you lock onto something and you get a reading when you're doing a line locator. They were following the line locator as it was. So, you know, the contractor offset their distance. What we picked up must have been an old gas line of some sort that we traced. So they actually just put it in and we look back and reference some of our mapping. You can see the water main does kind of angle a little bit. So where they hit it, they were probably just off the edge of the main. So whose fault is it? Maybe it's ours, but it was just, you know, just too many things in the ground and we picked up something that, you know, it's just a lot of stuff in that area. So
It just seemed like a problem area.
that is a problem area, but
Over
this
the years-
problem necessarily
This
wasn't.
wasn't a freeze, this wasn't a pipe breaking problem, it was it got broken.
But, you know, we planned and we marked and we did all this stuff and then it was literally the first thing we get a call and it's like, hey, they hit the main. It's like, where did they hit the main? So after explanation and seeing what's all over there and their old abandoned lines and whatnot. So it's just, I guess you can say it happens, but you know, it was a quick fix and we got, they got all the data they needed and no other issues after that one, at least from what we heard. So, so the weather also allowed us to kind of get some of our hydrants disassembled to kind of restock for some parts as we go into, you know, spring, summer season to use some of that for replacements. Continued our overhead fill work. We did get a new valve put in. There was some kind of cavitation and some water hammer that was happening. Once we would use the water and shut it down, there would be a big water hammer. We didn't understand why. So hopefully that makes it so there's no more issues. Waiting on some programming on our computer over there, and then we can, I guess, let Stacy start billing some people to use our new overhead fill program. So, guys also worked on some of our backup generator maintenance. Did some private well sampling. We did finish. We had one additional UCMR5, our unregulated contaminant monitoring rule number 5. We had to sample out of well number 4 for sampling event number 2, because at the time of our initial sampling event, it was down for the permanent PFAS plant to get wrapped up. So now that it was online, we were able to still get a sample collected since we were still within the window for the event. Included a photo of a lateral inspection we did, as well as some of the pictures of the main break. On the sanitary side, kind of similar with the weather, we were able to kind of pull some things and do some maintenance items. We did have a few pumps that had to be pulled over at Tiny Tricia and our Park Terrace lift stations. We also got around to, I believe, finishing up our jetting and televising for some of our project work that we have going on along Ross Ave and Cutoff. We did assist Rothschild in a little bit of their sewer jetting as their truck was down, so we helped out with some of their needs. They had a blocked sanitary line. Collected our pH probe data, cleaned some bad spots, additional maintenance on some of the lift station standby generators. Continued with our diggers locates. There's a little bit slowed down, and work orders and contract work is pretty much come to a halt, other than well 3 portion of the project should be hopefully getting underway here in a little bit. Other than that, we have our kind of usual monthly data with our customers and change of residences added. Our water pumpage, I guess one note, if you do look at it, we didn't pump any water out of our well 1 and well 5. I guess it's really not needed. We did talk to the guys today. We have our quarterly sampling events that we have to do. So, you know, they're planning, I think, in a few weeks to kind of run 1 and 5 a little bit more to exercise it so it's ready when we do our compliance sampling for DNR. And other than that, we have the wastewater flows and our lift station hours. That's all.
Question for Josh? Thank you. Is policy discussion and recommendation, item 10, 2026 annual street maintenance and project plan update.
Yeah, so as we're moving out of 25 and into 26, kind of a global departmental goal is to kind of have a better annual calendar of our tasks and key dates to meet for the year. Don't want to say the last few years has kind of been fighting fires, but it's been a little bit of responding to the organized chaos. So we want to try to take this time to get caught up and kind of make sure we're not missing things and being able to be a little more proactive with that. So kind of what's included here is kind of a working draft of where we were at as of last week, whatever it was, Wednesday. So, you know, for our capital projects, you can peek through there, but it kind of helps us lay out when we need to make sure we have certain design deadlines or bids out, special assessment reports, survey work for the following year, all of those items to kind of help remind us when we need to have that work done. And then as well as what meetings we need to make sure we have these items ready. So like the last few meetings we talked about, you know, typical sections and layouts for next year's projects, and we want to make sure we're staying up on that and we don't, again, miss something there. You know, as we talk about borrowings and other capital projects, making sure that we have those projects identified ahead of time and get all that work done so we can tackle those items in kind of that August, September area as part of the budget process for the following year. So streets, Forrest is going through that with some of our crew leads, kind of even just scheduling in the work that we're looking to do in-house, you know, so whether that's tree cutting, crack sealing, getting streets selected so we can get our contracted work bid out, you know, leaf pickup and kind of utilizing that to understand what our equipment and manpower needs are, you know, each month throughout the year. And Josh and the rest of the crew will be working through the utilities fleet parks system there. So, you know, just want to make sure we don't miss things and we start creating some of these living documents. So someday when we're not here, somebody else can reflect back on and see what exists. So.
What's our budget for all this? I think we have a budget for it, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, so our budget document is one thing. This is really our work planning. So making sure that, you know, even timelines, right? So, you know, for Well, if I pulled it up live right now, even like for the utilities, it says when our PSC report is due, when our municipal storm sewer report is due. It's really making sure we're identifying when those items are so that we don't, you know.
I think that's great that
Yeah.
you're doing that because, yeah, so you assign this project to.
Correct, yeah. So between kind of those three and me, and then Brian with our fleet and Sean for parks. Everybody has access to it and making sure we update it, and then we do meet weekly to kind of go over the weekly work plan. And just want to be able to keep track of those maybe longer term projects or a bigger thing that might be coming up. And we cross utilize staff quite a bit. When we snow plow, it's utility and park staff that do it. If we have other utility needs, our street staff will help out there. So even identifying where those time periods are, where we maybe are cross-utilizing staff, what we're when those opportunities exist. So
Okay. Any question? I'll accept the motion to
Move to
acknowledge.
acknowledge.
A second,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. Item 11, 2026 capital improvement plan update. Michael?
yep. So as we got through 2025 there's been a few things that have come up December, January, and one more that came up last week after I put this out. So besides, we had the police department building, which the village board took action on in January. So I wanted to make sure that's reflected in our capital improvement plan. And then on the utility side of things, we were notified in January that Rothschild will be looking at repaving Bellwood Ave. That's in the annexed area just south of Highway 29. We have an old cast iron water main there, which similar to Alderson Street, we've got several areas of it that have patches on it. I think even last year we had a main break on Bellwood, so we'd like to take this opportunity to replace that main. Since Rothschild would have the roadway costs, it'd be a way for us to replace the utility without having to pay for restoration of the roadway.
So you're gonna take $400 some thousand off of here, right? For Bellevue. So Bellwood
Bellwood, so we'd be adding that project in.
next year.
Correct.
So we take it from this year off of the budget.
But not next year, this year, twenty
In
twenty.
2026.
Well, still you're gonna do it 2026.
Yeah,
So it's not next year, it's this year.
this year, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are 2026 kind of adjustments. I guess similarly with Bellwood, Rothschild has a project on Military Road, which maybe isn't necessarily a capital expense for us, but we'll have some water main that we'll have to relay as it'll be in conflict with some new storm sewer they're looking to install. So that one maybe isn't a true capital project. And then we had discussed that Shorey Ave sanitary sewer extension just east of Cedar Creek subdivision.
This one you got 80,000, so that 80,000 coming from what?
Yeah.
Who's paying it?
Well, we haven't borrowed yet for 2026.
Okay.
So that's where it would come from as part of the 2026 borrowing. One of the other things Jessica and I will be looking at is our kind of current state of the utilities. So I guess that's really the main other part I'm working on right now is finishing up all of our financials for 2025 projects so that we properly allocate all of our expenses for those. And then we'll see what we have in fund balance and utilize those numbers to see what we need to actually borrow for 2026. Inevitably some projects come in a little less than you initially thought and some come in a little more. So we're kind of getting those projects balanced out here.
If we take the police department off of it, you have you're adding $610,000 to it.
Correct, and those are primarily it's all utility, it's all water and sewer funds.
So still, I'm gonna go back to Shorey Avenue.
Yep.
Are we gonna assess that?
Correct. Yeah,
80,000 or village paying for it?
we'll assess, probably what, 25,000 or so of it. And then the rest would be there for our future assessments if other connections are made.
I thought there's a date for that, it's connected and after 10 years it's free.
Yeah, we've been using 20 for the last, couple projects, so.
Money?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I apologize, I wasn't able to connect with Chief Finke last week, but I connected with him today, and if we can increase that public safety building one $10,000, so instead of reflecting 75, if it could reflect 85. They just need to do some slight remodeling to the first floor with some change in leadership positions and the additional of the 3 staff this year.
Is that this year construction?
That $10,000 project would be this year. The other 75 we set aside for HVAC, and that building, that was part of the original remodel project, but just didn't happen, but still needs to occur.
Wasting our money, but that's okay.
Still got people living there 24/7.
I know, no, I have no question on that. I think that building gotta go. Then you built something in there. That's what, 75 years building, no, more than 50 years building. So
Does the Bellwood Avenue help us towards our goal of replacing the older infrastructure?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's made from the 1960s, so it's not asbestos pipe, but it is an older cast iron. So like I said, I believe it was last year we had a main break on Bellwood. We've probably at least had 3 in the last 10 years. So eventually we're gonna just keep having more breaks up there. A lot of that main was laid right on rock. It was kind of blasted in, and they didn't maybe care so much about backfilling, or it was good enough to last 40, 50 years. And now it's kind of reaching the end of its useful life.
Okay, so it's not the asbestos that we were still trying to.
No, so it's not AC main, but it is still older main.
Right.
And if it wasn't for Rothschild saying, hey, we're repaving the road, I'd say we could wait a little bit, but if we can save ourselves.
No, I agree, it's the right decision. I was just curious if it helped us on two sides, so to speak.
Okay, anything else, Michael?
No, that should be.
Question for Michael? I'll accept the motion.
Move to recommend the village board amend the 2026 capital improvement plan as reflected in the minutes.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it, thank you. Item 12, replacement utility vehicle purchase.
Yes. So we have 5, I guess, utility vehicles that the 5 operators utilize as their daily mobile offices. It carries their tools, materials to do their work. So we have a couple that were due for replacement here. The last few years, it seems like either the ordering windows are very narrow, or there are utility vehicles that get put on lots and nobody really wants to reserve those for you. So staff is kind of looking at this modified van with these exterior doors, and it still provides an interior workspace and a place to put their wrenches that are used for turning valves and curb boxes inside, so they're not laying around the back of a truck bed. And the outside doors would allow them access without having to keep going in and out of the vans like they currently do. So they're intrigued by this model. I believe it was about 61,000 for this particular truck or van. So I guess they're looking for I guess the authorization to spend, no more than 65,000 per vehicle. I think 2 years ago, we purchased two kind of Ford Transit vans. Those were right around 63,000 each, I do believe, so it's kind of consistent, at least the prices seem to have stabilized on this type of, I guess, work vehicle.
So 61,000 or 65,000?
Well, they found ones for 61, I guess. By the time the board makes a decision to either give us that permission next week, Monday or not, those ones for 61,000 may or may not still be available, so.
Looking for a motion.
So I was just looking for 65, just so that there is room, so if we, believe both of these are 2025 models. So if the 2025 models sell off the lot, then you might have to buy a 26 model.
So you need 130,000.
Correct, it'd be 65,000 for each.
What's your wishes? Yes, sir.
Question, if you replaced what you had with a new truck, do you know what I'm trying to figure out what the difference in price was. Roughly,
Like with resale value or the exact
No,
same type
no.
of vehicle?
If you bought the same type of vehicle that you now have. Roughly, how much? I guess I'm asking how much difference there is for this new
Yeah,
type
so,
of vehicle.
I mean, a quick Google search here shows that they're probably about 42 to 45,000. And then we usually have another additional expense for shelving and other ancillary, lighting parts, stuff like that. So it's maybe a $10,000 difference.
Okay.
What are you gonna do with the existing vehicle?
Then we'd sell them.
So you can't trade it here? Then we can.
We can look to trade in. Lately, we've been putting things to auction and it seems like
Coming out ahead.
our auction costs are higher than what people are willing to give us for trade-in.
Okay. Still, I don't know what we sell that stuff. Where does that money go? The auction, whether we sell in the auction, what happened to it?
To the funds?
Yeah.
They go back to in this case, they go back to the water and sewer utility.
Or come back to the warranty?
Yep.
What's the difference in the gross vehicle weight between the old model and the new? And the only reason I ask is, are you heading anywhere towards a CDL?
All of our guys have a
Well,
CDL.
they all do anyway, so it's irrelevant. Done.
Yeah, because even like our 1-ton trucks with a asphalt patch or anything on the back is.
That's the reason I was asking.
Yeah,
That threshold is expensive to cross if you don't have the license in place.
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll accept the motion.
I move to recommend the village board to authorize staff to purchase 2 replacement utility vehicles not to exceed $65,000 each.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you. Replacement of street department truck.
Yeah. So as part of our 2026 plan, we had 475,000 allocated for public works equipment. The first one we're looking to replace is a 25-year-old, more than 25-year-old Chevy Silverado. It's got 177,000 miles on it. Willie Forrest said the last time he filled it up, he kind of calculated out we're getting maybe 6 miles per gallon on it. So
Is it rusted, Mark? Michael?
yeah.
Because those Silverado rust.
Yeah, so I think, at first glance, it probably looks okay, but if you start looking underneath the body fenders and you'll see it quickly.
And you got 177,000 miles.
Correct, yeah. So again, we're looking to purchase probably a slightly used truck with under 30,000 miles on it. Figure that should be about $35,000 price range. and should probably then stay in the fleet for about another 20 years, so. Like I said, this is kind of more of a survey or a patrol truck. It's used to respond to resident requests, pick up dead deer, run and get parts. So it doesn't need to be a big 1-ton truck, but still something that you can, pick up garbage, put it in the back of it and go to and from.
Question?
We have enough money if we authorize that amount? Or are you right at are you better off at 40 or something like that?
Yeah, I think Brian found a couple trucks that were kind of right in that $34,000 range, but
Which is why I ask.
yeah.
Buy an old one.
Well, I just hate to say, oh, we found one and it's 35.5 and now we got not to exceed a 35, and then we gotta bring it back to the committee and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fine. Our goal is to try to stay right at that
not
35.
that I'm looking to spend, when I read it, I went, I'm right at where you
Yeah,
unless you have one that's out there, but then, yeah. I don't know, my thought was maybe it makes more sense to give another 5,000 not to exceed. Not that we want them to spend it, but
yeah.
Other question? I'll accept the motion.
I'll move to recommend the village board authorize staff to purchase a replacement fleet truck number 55 for a not to exceed cost of 40,000.
I'll second.
Discussion?
It's fleet number 59.
Yeah.
Yeah. Truck number 59.
Yep.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a thank you. Okay, item 14, 2026 PFAS project and settlement fund update. Michael?
All right, well, the last 2 weeks was kind of fun talking to the DNR about our PFAS funding. If there's questions on here, I started writing about kind of our PFAS projects and then reflected that maybe it's worth going back through the history of our system and kind of where we started on this. So Josh, if you have anything you want to add in at any time, go for it. But our main distribution system has 7 wells, so we have 8 total. But the one Cary well is its kind of own island system. So when we talk about our system, for the most part, it's the 7 wells. So 1 and 5 are by Kennedy Park, 3 and 4 and kind of by the old municipal center. 6 is in Sandy Meadows, and 7 and 8 are the new ones we built down here in Camp Phillips. So if we go back to our 2020 master plan, we had this nice layout of we're gonna build wells 7 and 8. We were gonna put a treatment plant in at Bladel. We were gonna do all these other projects. Well, I think we adopted this in December of 2020. We got going on the well projects because that was the first one. And then PFAS hit. Luckily, I guess maybe for us, we were also planning in the kind of 5 to 10 year range from there. This worked for well 3 and well 4 over here. So in essence, we took the Mesker water treatment plant, the Sternberg projects, and we flip-flopped it with the Bladel water treatment plant process. So that's really where we're at today is we built well 7 and 8. We took care of the PFAS issue for wells 3 and 4. And we did our SCADA upgrades and we did a lot of these other distribution system projects. But now, the next big future project really is probably this Bladel water treatment plant. So I got into a bunch of details about where we were at for PFAS and the history of it. I was kind of just myself reflecting back on it and, trying to figure out how do we explain this to the DNR, to kind of our funding agencies as we go through some of these discussions with them and all the efforts we've made over the years. So Um, I guess I wasn't gonna read through it all, but if you have any questions, I can go back. So really, in modern day here, we're in the end of 25, well 4 is back up and running, pumping through our granular activated carbon. It's back at full capacity, well 7 and 8 are running. And we've removed wells 1 and 5 from the distribution system for the most part, as kind of Josh pointed out there. So in 26, we'll be removing the iron manganese from well 3. And by 2027, well 3 should be back online with no iron, no manganese, and no PFAS. So then looking at 27 and beyond, we've got wells 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8 that'll be pretty pristine water coming through the system. At that time, the 4 parts per trillion limit for PFOA and PFOS should be coming through as law for the drinking water standard. And wells 1 and 5 are right at that limit right now. So it appears we're going to need to do something at wells 1 and 5, no matter what. So, and they will both need that iron manganese treatment and the PFAS removal. So the Bladel Avenue project we have going on right now will create a water line that we can use to pump well 1 water over to well 5, where a future treatment plant would be installed. So we applied for our safe drinking water loan. That was part of the bipartisan infrastructure law for PFAS treatment. We received 50% principal forgiveness on our loan currently for well 4. And we are also looking at that for the well 3 project, which initially was one project until the DNR made us split those up because of the iron manganese component. So as we were getting through that discussion with the DNR, they kind of put up a flag saying, hey, it looks like you're also part of this class action lawsuit, which we did file our part of that with 3M and DuPont. So based on the initial settlement, we should be due to receive a little over $2 million from 3M and about $215,000 from DuPont for just under $2.3 million. To date, we've received 1.4 in total payments, and we also filed the necessary paperwork for BASF and Tyco. But those final rulings and payment amounts have not yet been finalized. So let's see, last week, Monday, we had a meeting with the DNR, and they alluded to having to reduce our safe drinking water loan by an amount equal to what we'd be receiving PFAS settlement funding for, which I guess I had a disagreement with how they were interpreting that rule. So we'll keep talking to them about that. But below is kind of how our scores and payments are been, my interpretation would be made. So each well 1 through 8 had a PFAS score that was based on the testing level of the contamination, plus how much water you pump through that well historically. So as you can see, wells 1, 3, 4, and 5 all scored fairly high, kind of our 20 to 24% range for those. In going through the settlement docs, there's notes that it's 60% of the funds are to be used for infrastructure and 40% are intended for operations and maintenance. We had talked in the past about using our PFAS settlement money to help offset the future costs of operating and maintaining that system so that it wasn't a big hit to our ratepayers. So if I look at well 3 specifically, that portion of the payment would be $329,000. I guess that'd be my thought is if the DNR wants to reduce our safe drinking water loan, it should only be by that $329,000 amount and not our full settlement payment or anything else, because that is the only part of that settlement that I guess I would say is allocated for the infrastructure portion of well 3. So we've provided that information back to the DNR. haven't heard back from them since providing that information to them. And so I guess I'm hopeful that they'll come back and say, okay, we can reduce the safe drinking water loan by 329, and that matches the intent of everything. So there's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of additional conversations, and data and phone calls that occurred with the DNR and other communities and some of the water groups that we are a part of. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of what's happening statewide here and why all of a sudden we're being notified of some of this. When, I guess in my opinion, if the PFAS settlements were known to be happening, and the DNR did not say anything about them until essentially a few weeks ago.
What you're getting for your settlement is equal what you spend on the project?
No,
And that's another point to make to DNR.
yes,
If we were getting all the money back, what we were spending, I would say, yeah, they're right, we should just not to ask for a grant for it,
correct.
but we're probably getting 50% of it possibly.
It depends how you look at it. So like, the well 3 project is $3.6 million. Based on their settlement, the infrastructure portion of that is 329,000 is what we're getting for it. So it really isn't,
I think that point should be made to DNR, yes,
yeah.
I agree with you. And then the other question I had, see, well, number 1 and 5 are in Kennedy Park. They're pretty close to each other, aren't they?
They are, yeah,
So they pumping from same aquifer.
correct.
One of them, I think, showing high iron and manganese, and the other one doesn't.
Well 5 is higher, but well 1 is trending upwards.
Did any of the engineer looking at that figure out what's going on?
I think we haven't, I guess, explored that a whole lot yet. As we'd get into the design for a treatment plant there, we would, but
I think they should, because the same thing is that Mesker.
yeah, I mean, the Mesker well has high iron manganese and the Sternberg well has like virtually none.
Yeah.
Which again is
So,
an
I
odd
think-
situation.
Yeah, whoever is working on it, they should look at that. Or get the hydrogeologist, look at that and see what's the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that help for a design, how to design the system for it.
And I guess that's where maybe I could have, so without knowing kind of how this is gonna play out, I guess we're kind of stuck on I guess I feel a little stuck on what to do for the next, do we proceed with wells 1 and 5? Initially we thought we'd have funding and taking care of the PFAS treatment moving forward. If we don't have that, wells 1 and 5, that becomes a major capital project and a big rate impact compared to if all the settlement funding has to be used for the well 3 project. So, I feel like we're a little bit in a holding pattern. We do have wells 1 and 5 off currently. That probably isn't a long-term solution, but it is the solution for right now. So.
Yeah, but 1 and 5 is affecting your business district.
Yeah, but that's why they're off right now.
Right.
So before we turn them on, we got to do
If you
something.
turn it on, it's gonna affect them. Therefore, if you're gonna turn it on, I think it should be taken care of.
Correct. So,
Regardless of the cost, you can think about it, but still, you can't turn it on unless it is a good water, we can give it to them.
yeah,
The timeline just could be affected depending on what the DNR comes back with.
yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to portray is, we kind of had a nice game plan going and all of a sudden we had a wrench thrown in it here in the last month and,
Curveball, game plan curveball.
yeah, so I have to make it audible. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna need to eventually treat all of the wells then?
Well,
I mean, I was going into this long-term thinking, that our new wells were gonna be,
yeah, so our 3 newest wells, 6, 7, and 8 are good. They're under You know, we are, what, quarterly testing PFAS now?
Mhm.
You know, we're under any action levels, nothing seems to be really moving up on those, so those seem to be good.
Okay, so when you say that 3, 4.2, and 4.0, that does not equate to that 4 parts per trillion?
Uh, Where are you at?
That chart.
On your
That's
chart?
just their points.
Oh, the
there.
PFAS points, yeah, so even if you just pumped water, I
Yeah,
don't
like we
really
got,
know.
so when I submitted all this, you took historical data of all your sampling events and, you know, I looked back into our UCMR 3 or whatever it was, where we actually did have some PFAS sample results for like wells 3, 4, and 5. So then our most recent wells, like 7 and 8, we did sample for PFAS where there was minuscule amounts found, but we could still put it onto our settlement saying that we use these wells. This is, you know, what the results were. So that's why their points were so low comparative to, you know, the historical data that we pulled for some of the older wells with the amount of volume that we use them and the high PFAS loadings that were found in them. So that's where those points are. It's, you basically put it into something that then this AFFF settlement company produces this to then kind of have some sort of scale to see where you fall amongst others. And then that's broken down. Michael just broke that down in percentage of our points that we put into our settlement. And it's kind of the frustrating part of this is that, you know, the DNR made a comment about how well they want to make sure they can have enough funds for communities to use. Well, I say, well, tough. Like we put this together and we took the time to do this. If a community didn't put their settlement together and now they're gonna get funding and we gotta use this to offset theirs, it's like, it doesn't seem like it's right. So that's why we're trying to say like, okay, we're focusing on, well, 60% maybe can take, 40% no of that, what he's shown up there.
Yeah, penalizing the people that did their job.
Kind of, yeah.
Right, and then it costs the village, I mean, it costs money, you know, obviously.
Yeah, it costs,
takes
you
a
know.
lot of time too, of going all through all
You know,
that.
and, you know, there's discussions about potentially, you know, communities that might have received funding, already closed projects. Now, how are they, what is the DNR gonna do with that? Are they gonna go back for some of their settlement funds? I mean, they're could try, but then I think there's gonna be some other big mouths that are gonna have to be fed to probably get in front of some judges and, so I don't know where it's gonna go, but it's a frustrating turn to then kind of see what what could happen and what hopefully won't happen, but you never know.
Especially not to have it in any of their conditions or stipulations that if you do go with this and get it, you're probably not gonna get this. You know?
Yeah, and that was some of the questions I had. I said, okay, great, we still got future wells we're gonna have to treat. Are we gonna be eligible for, you know, emergent contaminant funding again? And they're like, well, we're not sure what the funding sources look like, but if you put a project in right now, you know, there might be funding. I'm like, okay, well, we can't, you know, put that on our ratepayers to have all these major capital projects to do that, so.
And I think some of theirs is kind of leaning on the wording of responsible parties. So, I mean, we signed on to the settlement with some of these large companies that I don't know if they ever admitted to being responsible parties, but they're saying, here's this, we made these products that are in the environment where we're not next to an airport that was spraying firefighting foams where we can say that product was used here in the well. So it's kind of some of the language that they pulled out of some of their documents that kind of just make you say, okay, you're just kind of picking and choosing to make this fit when I don't know what our responsible parties were that contaminated our wells. So it's certainly not the end of the discussion, and hopefully we come out with some favor, some good numbers, but yeah, you never know.
And this is a really difficult question. I don't expect you guys to be able to answer this necessarily tonight, but I don't remember what the variable costs were on that PFAS treatment. I thought it was like $100,000 or so. I don't remember, but something like that. Is there a thought process as to, well, if we located a new well in some of the areas where we've done it now and they're under the threshold, would that be cheaper, that fixed cost versus the ongoing maintenance cost for a PFAS treatment plant for some of the other wells that we have, or is that not feasible because of the locations you have to have wells in those areas anyway.
Yeah, so.
And I know, and again, I don't expect you guys to rattle off an answer. This is.
So part of that for wells 7 and 8, we did look at, would it be possible to add a third well there?
Yeah.
In some of the test pumpage that happened, the drawdown of the aquifer made it so it really, what are we pumping at there? 800 gallons per minute? Essentially, it was about 1,600 gallons per minute is what that well area could hold. So if we put in a third well, we'd have to kind of reduce everything down to say 600 gallons per minute, or you can pump 2 wells at 800 gallons per minute. So there was kind of a restricting item there where there is still only so much before you kind of deplete that aquifer.
Okay.
And like well 6, it's a good quality water, but it is, I think right around 400 gallons per minute. It's one of our lower producing wells. And then as you start going outside our boundaries a little bit, or maybe the service area, then you're maybe looking at rerouting mains and, you have
That's
another
what I realize
large
this
cost.
it's a rough question. It's
Yeah.
just, there's a lot of moving parts on that, but
But, I
that was
mean-
just one of my thoughts is if we're thinking along those lines, it sounds like we are good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's cheaper to just bite the bullet and put another well in if it was available with that fixed cost versus the ongoing maintenance cost of treatment.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was thinking we should start looking at too is kind of a future study to see where well 9 someday should be located. So. But yeah, and then also I think with, like wells 2, 6, 7, and 8, I have a feeling that they were given some token amount so that, right now they have nothing, but 10 years from now, if we find something, these companies will be like, hey, we already gave you money for those wells. Don't come back after us. So that's kind of my own personal thought is they probably gave us some small percentage just to be able to say we already accommodated those.
Well, you gotta wait it out.
Yeah.
So I don't see what kind of a motion we want to make in here, but,
I don't know if I really had a motion. It was more of just this is happening and felt you guys should probably be aware of it.
We could move to support his continuing negotiation with the DNR
yes.
to try to come to some conclusion.
Is there a second?
Can I ask one other question? So what happens with are the other settlements relatively immaterial compared to the first 2? I mean, does that affect this thing or you have no idea, right? Is that-
Yeah, my guess is they're probably gonna be closer to the smaller side, so maybe it's 250 to 300,000 each versus the 3M was always gonna be the big one.
And are they carving that out of that and they're not gonna consider that you get a settlement, you have no idea?
I don't know. I guess that's all part of the discussion is there's future settlements. I mean, even when I was talking to them, like, communities were getting paid in 2024 already. So I'm not sure why at the end of 25, early 26, all of a sudden this is a talking point.
I just remember when they had the PECFA fund, and they
Yeah,
were cleaning up, yeah, if everybody who got in line first got paid 100%. You got in line way later, you didn't get 100% anymore. Why? They ran out of money.
yeah,
That's what's happening. This is just like PECFA all over again, right? Oh, we got all this money. Checks are flying and then all of a sudden, wait, we don't have all this money. And now they're gonna start looking for ways to cut people down,
yeah,
right? That's my take on it. Yeah, seen this movie before
yeah.
with the DNR.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Michael, we got a couple other things is not on the agenda, although the lighting is. We have one about capital improvement plan. And also the other one is a map of the lighting in the village. You want to talk about them?
Yeah, so that, I guess under topics of future meetings, but so I was kind of going through the map. The red dots are where we have streetlights currently. The yellow dots are intersections where we don't have streetlights, so we have 94 of those. And then going through the street lighting policy, if the road bends more than, I think it says 15 degrees, or we should have a light. And we have roughly 27 of those in the village. So that's 121 lights total. Where if we were just going to the minimum of what our streetlight policy says we should be installing. I didn't look at straightaways where there's more than 520 feet in separation between lights. We likely have several of those as well, but I guess in rough cost, if we wanted to go and install all of these lights, that'd be about $245,000 and an additional about 33,500 in annual operating costs for what we pay WPS. So I'm not sure what additional information the committee maybe is looking for, if there's targeted areas that it looks like we maybe should be adding more lights in, or if this is just good information to have. And, you know, as requests come in, we kind of know where those maybe are located.
I think purpose of this is to improve the safety in the village, really. And if it's gonna help out, we should consider it, and you don't have to do all of it at one time either. You can do some every year.
Sure.
That way it won't be a big dent in the budget, although 225,000 comparing with $20 million project 1 year, that's not much really.
Yeah.
Is there a way to correlate hard data between intersection accidents and lack of the streetlight locations? And if there isn't, which I suspect there may be not, is there a way to go to like the public safety committee or the police department and say, hey, do you guys just have any perspective on where the worst areas in the village are that have accidents because of lack of lighting?
Yeah, we can try to correlate, you know, look at crash reports and see where those occur. I mean, some of our worst intersections for crashes are some of our best lit intersections.
Well, I would assume that, right, that they're probably the busiest too, right?
Yeah.
And that, you know, the preponderance of traffic is gonna increase, but I just thought maybe you go to the police department and you say, hey, looking at this map in the village, you guys look at this and go, oh yeah, that one, it would really help if they had more lighting. You know, that's one where we kind of know, you know, where our gut tells us there's more of a problem than others.
And we did that several years ago. We added a light on Alderson by Harwood. And that was, where's that? This
I'm just
this
thinking
red
the police
dot.
probably have a good idea of
Yeah.
that, but you know, a gut sense of that.
See, if there is no light at the intersection or at the street, what happens is, if you know the area, that's no problem. You don't know the area, you're gonna have problem to find that, or trying to read the sign on those is not easy. So. Anything else?
Yeah, so I guess,
Continue.
yeah, I can look and ask the police department for what information they maybe have to try to cross-reference those intersections with lighting.
Very good. And then, did you want to talk about capital improvement plan at all, or have some number in here?
Oh, so this was just the water utility capital plan that we had adopted in 2020. So I was just using that as that reference as we kind of went through that water system kind of history over the last, seems like 5 years. It was 5 years. So I guess even there, our short-term kind of plan was for a 5-year period, which would have been 21 through 25. So I guess, you know, in retrospect, we did a lot of that. You know, we had the SCADA, we had the Ryan Street crossing, Fuller Street, the Weston Avenue, Everest Ave was part of the Crestwood Acres, Birch Street was part of the Birch Street project. So we took care of almost all of these projects, which is, I guess, pretty cool to see. And we also did some in the long term there as they came up. So Alderson Street, one of these Alderson Street projects was included there too, as part of the Weston Ave. So.
Any question on those? Okay, future item. Item 15, next meeting is Monday, March 9th, 2026
I'll be out of town.
Okay.
at 4:30 PM. And then item B is Monday, April 13, 2026 at 4:30 PM. Topic for future meeting. We talk about item A, village-wide Wisconsin Public Services street light update. Is that light map came from public service?
Correct. Oh, well, we made the map, but it's based on, so not every light in the village is a WPS light. We do own like the lights on Schofield Ave by the hospital, so our map shows all of our lights, not just the WPS lights, but yeah.
Item B, consolidation of Ryan Street yard material site with Village of Rothschild on hold, water main replacement. We talk about it. And water and sanitary sewer rate review
Hopefully next month we'll have that
in March.
wrapped up and ready, yeah.
Okay. Remark from the staff, Isaac?
I don't have anything.
Josh?
Nope.
Horace?
Nope.
I have something. I have a favor to ask everyone on the committee. You may have already seen that we have opened our comprehensive plan survey. So every 10 years we do a comp plan, and a big starting point of that is asking the public about thoughts and feelings for goals for the future for the village. We also have some questions about the services we provide on the survey. So we had these nice postcards made. They have a QR code that takes you right to the survey. The survey is also a tile on our homepage of the website. So under Weston Resources, there's a tile that says comprehensive plan. That shows our historical information for comprehensive plan and kind of our planning process that'll be upcoming through this whole year to get it updated. So if you complete the survey, we also had stickers made. So the benefit is if you tell me you completed the survey, you get a sticker. So
I did it the other day, yep.
I will share a postcard with you to take with. Maybe you can share it with a friend after, too, if you've already completed the survey, and I can give you the great sticker that we have made. Thank you.
Where's my sticker?
I can get it. So right, as of today, we just checked, we have 123 surveys completed. And our goal is to have 2,450 surveys completed. That would be 20% of our population. So everyone that you can tell or encourage to complete the survey is helpful to get us to our goal.
Okay. It was fun. Item 17, item 18, remark from committee member.
I just want to say thank you to Michael. I thought that it was really proactive and nice to get that recap of the history of the water, the wells, and what has happened historically. It is good information, just to review it for, I think for the committee. I found it really effective. So thank you.
I have nothing.
Good.
I'm good. Thank you. I'll accept no announcement. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Move adjourned.
Second?
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming. Yes.